Bells, bells, bells. I'm excited to finally have this space. I don't think I've ever actually talked with Graham on a spaces before. So this might be a first time, but we've had a lot of fun conversations over the last 3-4 months, maybe even longer, of building a protocol or a bridge called Televault, which has had a lot of success over the last 6 days since public launch. Now sitting at 900 million in TVL since Bells has dropped a little bit since it launched. And we're sitting at 20K in the LP pool. So we got to get that up. But a lot of exciting opportunities here. We discussed this a little bit yesterday on the show that nothing broke. So that's always that is always the biggest positive in crypto. If you launch a product and it doesn't blow up in your face, then something's right there. Especially when degens tend to stress test it. And in this conversation, we're going to talk about Graham's vision for Televault. What comes next. What are the cool opportunities, and maybe some shared alpha. But first and foremost, I will say hello to my lovely co-host, and then we'll get the conversation going. Adam, Mr. Bells man himself.
Man, it's like you said, everything we've kind of done has always broke first day, right? It's like if your site doesn't go down and crash, it's almost like a rite of passage. So it's kind of nice that nothing terrible happened at the launch. And obviously we had some buy-in by some big players into the whole idea, which was a really nice surprise. I mean, we had people who said they would add to the liquidity and stuff like that. But seeing kind of the big money come in, I think, was a hat tip to Graham, and has got to feel pretty good. I mean, we're just starting here, but it's got to be. It's nice to get that kind of buy-in early. I would think.
Yeah, Chris, what's your initial thoughts on Televault now, 6 days in?
It's really incredible. It's incredible for Emblem. It's an incredible step for just kind of decentralization and getting off these centralized exchanges and allowing these UTXO chains to be caught up on Uniswap, Ethereum, get over to Solana and things like that. So anecdotally, it's a great step for the industry, and it's a really great step for us. I mean, it's another opportunity for us to showcase how powerful a tool Emblem Vault can be. And Graham did an incredible job building this out. So, I mean, I'm extremely excited to talk about it today.
Well, the number one question that we'll get to maybe later is when Solana, because that was the one filling my DMs. I'm sure you guys got that as well, but we can get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's some progress there, which we'll dive into.
I heard there might be some alpha later from Graham. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. Graham, I got to know, man, how are you feeling now that this is launched? We're a week into this, and I know you've been working on this since midsummer. Do you have a sigh of relief, man, or are you still a lot of work to be done?
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yep,
gotcha.
Yeah, how I feel, I'm tired, boss. Like I always I said to you before, like I have 2 young kids and a few hours a day to build. I'm surprised myself I was able to finish. But yeah, I'm really happy that it's working. People are using it. There's liquidity at least, and like Adam said, some big players came in and it's working. Nothing broke, so I'm really happy with that.
What do you actually? Why don't we start a little bit at the beginning here? I know you were part of like a grants program. Can you tell us a little bit about like what was that like? How they kind of helped you and stuff, and your kind of experience with that?
Yeah, sure. Actually, it wasn't that comprehensive. It was a pretty small cohort, and nothing too big in terms of funds. It was mostly credits for Third Web. What was really important there for me was support. So they gave me priority support, and I was using their contracts as a base for Televault. And unfortunately, their documentation is not that good because they build so much stuff. So Third Web have like updates their contracts like every other month. So it's really hard to pin down like technical documentation. So it was really good. I was able to talk to someone, and I was prioritized in terms of support. And if without that, I would have probably taken much longer. Yep.
So tell us, let's dive a little bit into, the history of Graham Bells. I know most of the audience is from the Bellscoin community, but for those who listen later, maybe watch on the live stream, what got you into Bellscoin, and tell us a little bit about your experience with early Bellscriptions and Bellscoin rocks.
Yeah, sure. Last year I was into ordinals, Bitcoin, of course. I was there in like January 2023. I was in the Discord when Raktoshi was like auctioning off rocks. And then I just dabbled around when I had time. Played with Dogginos as well. And then life got busy with kids and some loss in my family. So I was uh, in the sidelines for quite a while. And then late last year, I'm friends with Luke. I was following him on Twitter, and I just saw that I know Adam as well, and I saw that they were experimenting on this chain called Bellscoin. So had a look, and yeah, it was really interesting in terms of history, and obviously it was related to Bitcoin in terms of being a UTXO chain. I figured this must support ordinals, or at some point it will support ordinals. So I started playing around. Yeah, I think I shared before. Close to, it was Christmas, and I was trying to get this thing going. Obviously, there was like family gatherings and stuff, but during nighttime, I was just playing around and see if I can make it work. Yeah, and somehow, sort of like, I think it was here in Australia, it's called Boxing Day, so this December 26th, and yeah, I was able to make it work. I wasn't even sure that it will get mined, and first few minutes it wasn't. Took about 24 hours for the first inscription to be mined, and yeah, it worked. And I was hooked.
It was back in the day when Bellscoin was pretty much non-functional. Fun times.
Exactly, it was a surprise that anything worked. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember the chaos of when we did the Embells mint. For those who don't actually know, when we did the Embells mint, that was the first time we'd worked with Graham and linked up with Bellscribe, where users could go to a website and choose one of 10,000 PFPs, click on it, mint, pay an Ethereum transaction, and then it would mint the vault, and then it would ping to Graham's Bellscribe and inscribe the Embell, and then send it to the vault. And that was on a chain that was quite broken, but it worked about 90% of it, which was exciting. And then obviously, this kind of, I'm assuming that led to, your vision of Televault with our partnership through the Embells mint. But I'd love to hear just from you directly of, is that what inspired it, or did you see some other opportunity with Emblem Vault to where you're like, hey, we could turn this into fungible tokens, and then this can benefit the Bellscoin community? Because internally the Emblem team had been talking about fungible tokens for years, and we've had maybe 5 to 10 different developers approach us about doing this, but no one actually had gone through and finally built it. But you had, and now it's proven to have some success.
I actually, yeah, it's you guys that gave me that idea. I was going through your documentation, your wiki, because of the embossment, and I think there's a section there of like use cases, and one is fungible tokens, and I think you mentioned there that it's not yet built, but it's like one of the envisioned use case for Emblem Vault. So I remember reaching out in the same group chat where we talked about Embells, saying that hey, do you want me to build this? Can I build this? And you said yes. So and that was all the way back in like I think April or May. And fortunately, unfortunately, that was when my daughter was born. So
Oh my gosh.
that definitely yeah that delayed me a bit. But life, family comes first, and yeah, I've just been trying to get it done since then.
I mean, it's actually kind of incredible what you've built in that time, knowing that you have a newborn, because that makes it almost impossible. Can you walk us through a little bit of the steps of like, you know, first grappling with like, well, how you're going to do it, just from an organizational standpoint? Just get into the weeds a little bit here from a dev's perspective, like what it takes organizationally to do something like this, and then in the weeds, like technically what, you know, how much effort this actually, you know, takes to build something like this.
Yeah, good question. So yeah, first I knew that I needed to understand how Emblem Vault works. So that's why I've been pestering you and Shannon in the group chat, just trying to wrap my head around like how Emblem Vault works under the hood, and then just making sure that whatever I build is secure. I'm pretty sure if someone goes to the Televolt protocols GitHub and look at the smart contracts code, they would think that it's amateurish, and it is because I'm not really like a Solidity developer. I yeah I hack stuff. That's what I do. But yeah, you would see there that I make like extra. I add extra steps just to make sure that this is actually doing what I think it should be doing, and no one can just take away the locked bolts in the contracts. I was lucky that I met a few guys that were able to advise me with the contracts. There's definitely a lot of improvements for version 2, and that's my thinking with this launch. It's version 1. What took me a while is designing it in such a way that it could be upgraded later on, because I knew already in the beginning, because I am not an expert with smart contracts. I knew that I needed to upgrade it at some point and add more functionality and make it more secure, make it more decentralized. So V1 is like my MVP. And don't worry, it has been reviewed, even though it's not been audited. It's pretty simple. Should be quite secure. But then in very shortly, I plan to release version 2.
Amazing. Let's talk a little bit about how it works. I have here pulled up on the live stream the documentation, and I have the graphic of the system's architecture. And if you go below, it shows there's really kind of 3 major components to it, or 4. Component of it you have is the Televault appraisers and the Televault broker, and then the Televault exchange. Yep. Could you just dive into details and just share, pretty much how it works under the hood?
Sure. Yeah. So obviously there's the DApp, which is the Televault.xyz website, and since day one, I was trying to like have a framework in my head, like how it works, and the one that I settled into is like a pawn shop or a pawn broker, right? Where you can bring your valuables into this pawn shop, and you would tell them how much you think it is valued, how much you want for it, and then they would appraise it themselves, or find an expert to figure out like how much it should be worth. And then when you agree on a value, on an amount, then that's what you get. So it's very similar here. So as you can see, the holder of the vault, the owner of the vault, that contains some bells, creates an attestation, which is basically just a signed declaration that saying this is the amount of bells that's inside this this NFT, this Emblem vault. And then the verified appraisal is created in our backend. signed by a wallet, signed by the wallet address that's expected by the smart contract, by the Televault broker contract. And it should have basically the same details as the attestation. So same serial number of the vault and same amount and same asset ID, which in this case is BELLS. And then the smart contract basically compares.
Oh, did he get rugged?
Yeah, probably got a phone call or something, would be my guess. Maybe the connection.
His baby.
That was so interesting.
Is that your?
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Your,
you're back.
your on-phone baby monitor go off, bro?
Oh, I was explaining all this time.
No, we heard.
I was talking and talking.
No,
you all the way up to the you cut off for 5 seconds there. That's all.
Yeah, we got up to the appraisal.
Okay, I think my phone went into sleep. Okay, I'll keep touching it. Okay, so yeah, just it's just an all roundabout way of saying there's I'm checking the value of this vault in 3 ways: what the owner says, what an appraiser says, which is like a third party, and what the Emblem Vault smart contract says. And if all those 3 values is the same, then we issue the voted Bellscoin contract. And then after once that is issued, the actual vault is actually listed on the marketplace. So if you see here on the diagram, there's a Televault exchange. That's a marketplace contract audited by and created and audited by Third Web. So that's
Gotcha.
this I trust it, and you would actually see there if you visit that contract, you will see all the vaults listed. So and on that contract, it's only the broker that can create a listing, and it only accepts voted Bellscoin for payment. To simplify, and during the course of the development of this, we figured out that we can actually simplify this. We could probably remove the appraisers just to improve the centralization, and even the exchange itself. So yeah, a lot of streamlining and optimizations for version 2.
It's so cool because when I saw this the first time, I think I said to Jake, I was like, dude, why is this so complex? But now that I've done it, I actually understand why it is. I understand that marketplace. Before I was like, why would you need a market? And it's like, well, how are you going to get the vaults back? Right? You basically have to buy these vaults back, right? With your vBELLS. And so it makes sense now. When I was just looking at it on paper the first time, I was like, what is this? But it's actually quite genius when you use it and you actually see what it is. So man, it's impressive, I gotta say.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, excuse me. I would say as well, when you're creating something with V1, even from Emblem Vault's perspective, it was quite chaotic. And then over time, you're able to simplify it. But a lot of the additional complexities in the beginning is generally ensuring that it's secure. So as you mentioned, there was 3 different checks to check the balance. And when you see on the different graphics that we have pulled up, there's multiple checks and balances throughout it. And a lot of times you just kind of have to go through the process to see, what are the use cases, what went right, what went wrong, right? We knew going in that it would be a little clunky. We also knew that Ethereum gas fees kind of, impact a lot of the onboarding. And then we're also caught by surprise, right? That you had non-KYC basically come in and, vault 500,000 bells and say, hey, you can use our bridge for now, right? Until, you could use their bridge forever. And my guess is that, people will use that until the protocol becomes a little bit more efficient, maybe a little bit more gas optimized, or just a simple click process. And then once you have more liquidity in the Uniswap pool, right, people are going to, if you have 200,000 or 300,000 in the liquidity pool on Uniswap, most of the whales are just going to go buy, 50, 100K purchases on chain on Ethereum versus going to a centralized exchange where there's actually a limitation. So I think right now it actually works really well. And it actually shows that there's broader interest. You see this happen a lot of times with various protocols. I'll use ordinals, for example. You know, Casey created an NFT protocol on top of Bitcoin, where Bitcoin's not supposed to have any type of protocols, right? So they basically turn Satoshis into NFTs, and then Domo turned the Satoshis that were turned into NFTs into fungible tokens, right? So, and that's where all the general interest and speculation comes from. So I think even having non-KYC come in is actually pretty bullish, even though it adds, you know, kind of new dynamics to it. But I know you, Graham, have another dynamic that you plan to add to this in terms of tokenization. Right here on the Git book, it says that there's a Televault DAO. I'd love to kind of dive into that. What are your plans for, you know, governing Televault? You already mentioned that you're going to improve the UX and UI, but what is this about the tokenomics that everyone should know about?
Yeah, great question. And just so everyone knows, if you visit the Git book, you know, it's not yet complete, so I need to finish it. But while working on Televault on V1, I started to develop a vision, and I guess it's bigger than what I expected when I started. I see a DeFi ecosystem for UTXO assets. So if Televault will be the primary way of bridging over UTXO chain assets, or let's call them like legacy chain assets, to Ethereum, to Solana, to these smart contract platforms. I want Televault to be the hub, the DeFi hub for this asset. So imagine having its own DEX, not just using Uniswap. Its own DEX that incentivizes liquidity, similar to how Aerodrome does it. Imagine having the lending protocols built on top of Televault directly. I always see people from holding Bitcoin saying, "Hey, how can I get liquidity while not selling my Bitcoin?" Right? But there's no easy way of bridging Bitcoin to Ethereum and borrowing from Aave. So yeah, I mean, and then I need a way to make sure that system, that DeFi ecosystem, would function even when I'm gone. So I figured, you know, a DAO of participants that believe in this vision, that wants these assets to be available and accessible to anyone and on these networks, would be the way to go. So yeah, the scope has gotten much bigger, I would say, and it's getting me really excited.
I'm glad you see the vision, because that's exactly, you know, the same exact conversation we've had a lot of times. Chris, what do you think this would mean if Televault becomes, you know, the de facto bridge for UTXO based assets? Things like, for example, right, things like Dogecoin or even Dogenals, right? Bellscoin, you have Bell 20 on Bitcoin. You have, you know, 5 or 6 different meta protocols. What kind of unlock does that mean for the industry?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's just something that's really needed in the industry at the moment. It doesn't exist, right? Bridging these UTXO chains into Ethereum and other kind of proof of stake liquidity pools is insane, and it just reduces the dependencies of any kind of centralized agents or centralized marketplaces in the industry. So, you know, I'm all for it. I think there's a lot of eyes on it that weren't on it before, and so I think there's a lot of interest kind of looking around, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see some competition popping up here sometime shortly. But I think it's incredible what's been built in a short amount of time.
How big do you think that potential market is of a combined market cap of all of the, you know, what do we call it, like stagnant liquidity that's kind of been sitting around in the industry?
UTXO chains, I mean, definitely, obviously multi-billions, right? So just kind of unlocking all this capital. And really, we talk about it a lot of just giving people something to do with their coins. You know, these proof of work chains have been so siloed that they haven't been able to do anything except for stare at their coins in their wallets for, you know, many, many years. So giving them an unlock and letting them use these and interact on chain across different blockchains is such an incredible kind of like profound use case that we haven't really encountered in the industry.
It's absolutely beautiful. Bellscoin Dev, you have a question or comments?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, coming from Dogecoin, a lot of people actually used to buy Dogecoin on other chains like BNB, not knowing that Dogecoin had its own actual blockchain. So I think we will definitely see a lot of volume go on to vBELLS on Ethereum, and then later on Solana. I think Solana will be even bigger. Not sure what it would be called on Solana because vBELLS is already on ETH. Would it also be vBELLS on Solana?
Good question.
It's a good question. You know, it's a Graham decision. I would say probably you'd want to keep it the same because that's the branding with the V in front of it.
I think because of Coin Market Cap, they don't allow you to have same tickers, but I'm not sure on that.
I know some tokens that have the same ticker for like multiple networks. There's one on Base and one on Arbitrum, and one on Mainnet, and they're all the same. But yeah, I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah. Overall, you know, great work on everything. I think Graham, you've done, you know, more for Bellscoin than many people have, apart from like Yar. You know, Yar also works a lot. So, you know, thank you for everything. And I also want to say, you know, I think this will be a big moment for, you know, tokens on Bells, like Bell 20s, because I feel like, you know, Bellscoin, the coin itself, people, I don't know why they're like very scared to like, you know, do anything with their coins. Like we've seen a lot of liquidity go in. It's just not as much as I thought it would be. But I think once we start doing Bell 20s, like tokens like Nook and stuff, people are more willing to experiment with their tokens because it's already on the blockchain. It's not its own blockchain. So I feel like with Nook, we should see quite a bit of people vaulting onto Ethereum and Solana. You know, myself, I'm willing to, you know, vault at least half of my Nook. So I love all your work. So thank you.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Just want to add there. Yeah, I think people are hesitant to add liquidity because we all are big believers with where Bell's coin is going, and also Bell assets, right? Like Nook. So I guess no one really wants to give up their Bells and their Nook. So because if you put that in the liquidity and someone buys it, and then, you know, it just becomes ETH. So that's one. And that's why I think we need to find a way to incentivize that. And one way to do that I'm thinking is using the DAO tokens that we'll be launching with Televault DAO. And just want to say, and I'll provide more details about this later on, but I plan to airdrop I would say a pretty significant amount of that tokens to all Bellscription holders. Bellinal collection holders. Just as a thank you to the Bellscoin community. There will probably be like multipliers for the assets that I own, just to express my gratitude to all the people that have supported me or supported my collections. So that's like Bellscoin Rocks, Bellscoin Rockers, Doge. Yeah, but yeah, definitely the first owners of the Televolt DAO, the first participants of the Televolt DAO, will be the Bellscoin community, and we'll be very proud for that.
Amazing. I have here pulled up on the live stream, some of the statistics, and we can maybe dive into, the last 6 days or so. So vaulted bells sits at $902 million market cap. There's 670,824 bells that's been vaulted. So I believe at the next epoch, if I'm corrected, it's 60 million supply, I believe, right? Is that right?
Yeah, well, the one in May.
The one in May, or
the final kind of epoch. Yep.
So you say roughly, it's roughly about 1% of all bells is vaulted, and
1%.
I suspect this to increase as liquidity, because right now the liquidity is at 20K. Emblem's providing most of this. I have somebody else, 2 or 3 other people who said they're gonna put a larger stack in. I think once this gets up to 100K in that range, I think you'll start seeing a lot more activity, because individuals will have the opportunity to arbitrage between the exchange and the liquidity pool on Uniswap. I tried personally, but the liquidity is just it's not deep enough to be able to do it for a sufficient amount. You could really only purchase, maybe $1,000 at most without it going super crazy. And also another way as well is when the bell price goes up, the liquidity dollars go up, right? So if bells gets to $5 without even having to do anything, the liquidity pool goes up to like $75,000, right? And then you have a lot of people who are just going to be purchasing in USD in stable coins. So that's kind of how you get that flow going. And ultimately, it'll be, on Graham's team and also on Emblem team as well to build these relationships with these DeFi protocols like Aave, right, to get vBELLS listed, and then any of the other tokens that come after as well, to kind of create this line. So I think this is what most people within the DeFi ecosystem want to do. Is some people will use vBELLS to just store in their Ledger wallet, which I saw some people doing already. But a lot of people just want to use it as collateral in the DeFi ecosystem, right? You could go deposit your vBELLS and then go long on it on a DeFi protocol, right? Or just borrow against it, generally for leverage. So there's a lot of opportunities, and that all comes as the protocol becomes more efficient, right? The TVL increases, the bells grows as a proof of work chain, and more people become exposed to the idea of it. So, it's a really exciting time. We just kind of gotta, work together on this.
Graham, did you ever think that you'd have, within a week, you'd have 1% of the total bell supply in there?
No, definitely not. I didn't expect it to be a few tens of thousands.
Yeah, me too.
Just wanted to add that I also want to help with liquidity, so I'll be auctioning off a few sub 100 rocks on OpenSea. So thanks to Emblem Vault for facilitating vaulting Bellinos. That will be coming soon. So I hope to partly donate to the Bellscoin fund and then also add liquidity to vBELLS.
Amazing. I did pin that to the top. Yeah, we released a Bellinos collection. So you can vault any Bellinol. If it's a Bell inscription, you can vault it to Ethereum. And like what Graham's doing, one of the primary use cases is to just access the NFT tooling that exists on Ethereum, like the auction system, sweeping, borrowing, lending, different things like that. Ultimately, as Ethereum improves, there's a lot of different other options, but, really cool initiative to see that happen. We're at this situation now, Graham. The Bell rocket is now chilling for a second. I think it hit $1.80 at one point, maybe a little bit higher. Now it's down to, $1. What is it? It's $1.30, even $1.25. It says on Coin Market Cap.
Oh wow.
Right. So Bell's gonna be in this consolidation period for a little bit. You mentioned the improvements on the UX. What other type of things do you have in mind for Televault, over the next maybe few weeks to a month or so?
So I've gotten requests from a few other chains, right, to televote them as well. I'm trying to decide if I do that soon or wait for V2, because V2 should natively support like multiple coins, multiple assets, and it will be like less messy. So I'll
Then you're gonna click get.
continue having discussions with those teams. Also, I guess one main thing that I can improve in the short term without waiting for V2 is making it simple at the first step of televoting, which is creating a vault. And this, I think this suggestion came from you guys, where instead of voting or creating a vault and then sending bells to it before televoting, you just do it in one step, where when you're about to televote, it creates a vault in the background basically, and then include that in the flow. So I think that would make it much more simple. I thought that the flow, the 4 steps would be quite straightforward. But I guess, yeah, people like one button presses and done. So definitely that could be improved.
Yeah, we've learned that through years of of Discord DMs and walking people through the process. People want, basically they want 0 steps. They want you to just do it for them, and people
That's right.
they're completely fine with, for example, I mean, you're having push a button every time for a contract interaction, a signature. Almost all users are completely fine kind of just giving you that authority in the background, just to make it, easy. People are more concerned that they're going to mess up something and ruin the flow, rather than you're going to steal from them or do something nefarious. It's like, we had talks with people who are like seasoned developers who are very concerned that they were doing it wrong, right? And so, yeah, it's just kind of dumbing this down. Although I do think it was pretty simple. Still, I mean, we struggle with this too at Emblem. It's always just trying to get it to, one button easy. That's the ideal.
Yeah,
it must be. Sorry, I just wanted to say, it must have been pretty nerve-wracking when you were helping non-KYC vault 500,000 bells.
Well, I tell you, you get used to it after a while. Like Jake and I have walked so many through where people are sending $1 million Pepes and stuff that you get kind of comfortable. It's weird how your brain shifts and you get comfortable with stuff after like years of doing it. But yeah, it's understandable how they were nervous. We weren't nervous, but they were for sure.
Yeah. With that, we've been with Emblem now for November will be next month will be 2 years. That's great. Actually, in a week will be 2 years. Holy crap. We've attempted to simplify the process so many times. Amazon really has the right idea where it's like the one-click checkout. Like that's really what it's got to be for, bridging interoperability protocols. Like even you look at Ethereum right now with their fragmentation across fungible token ecosystems, like people are complaining that it's 2 clicks to get their fungible tokens across the bridge. They also hate the wait time, right? A lot of these bridges sometimes have a week where you have to wait for the fungible token. Like I recently waited a week for base to come back over. It was painful. Whereas right here with this protocol, there's literally no wait time. It's just you televault it and you have it instantly. So that's a major advantage that Televault has over these other bridges.
Huge.
But the advantage that the other bridges have right now over Televault is the kind of one-click bridge process. So if we could get that down to 1 click or 2 clicks on one screen, then, you know, I see that as like Televault has a huge advantage over the large majority of these chains or bridges.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, definitely that's coming, and I'm also excited with Emblem's version 2. So yeah, I just want to make sure that everything is compatible with that eventually. And I know you guys have like exciting features coming up with that. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll share a little bit about kind of Emblem V2 or Emblem 2.0. There's a few features to it. Some I'll maybe share even a little bit more alpha here. So right now with Emblem 1.0, there's been a big criticism for Emblem, and rightfully so, that it's it's centralized, but it's part custodial to a degree. It uses a TSS system right now, which is called a threshold signature scheme, where Emblem, for every vault that's minted, Emblem is a holder of the key shard across an entire node network. So there's no way for Emblem to essentially rug the vault, but it is right. It does hold one part of the key. We use something called Web3 auth as the TSS system. With Emblem 2.0, we're moving to something called the LIT protocol. I highly recommend looking at it. It's really, really advanced and sophisticated key management infrastructure. And so with Emblem 2.0, Emblem doesn't hold any of it. So the vaults essentially become non-custodial. This means that Emblem has no participation within the key management of each vault that's created. And so think about also, just for context, Emblem was created in 2020, was minted in 2020. It was deployed at a time when there was literally no NFT protocols existed. Like Emblem is literally one of the first ever NFT protocols that has existed. It came before a lot of marketplaces, came before the big NFT run up. So the Emblem 1.0 system was created at a time where it actually was created before MPC was even created. So our founder kind of foresaw a lot of what's happening and kind of built the system in a way that it could get plugged into once that infrastructure is built. And now that infrastructure is built, so we can move over to Emblem 2.0. And with Emblem 2.0, there comes a few other things as well, which actually will drastically improve the Televault experience as well. Two components here is that we can deploy on Solana, which we actually have a tested product right now. I don't think I've ever said that publicly, actually. So we've minted a vault on Solana. So that is like somewhat built. It's now just kind of integrating it into our systems. But then another cool component here, which I think is the biggest game changer, which will, I think, drastically simplify Televault as well, is we're going to have the ability to put smart wallets inside of every vault. So in this type of capability, there's only going to be one vault that exists inside of each Televault for each I guess for each token. And then you basically have a smart contract that issues the deposit and withdrawals of each one. So it's exact amount. So right now it's a little clunky, but over time it'll be really, really improved. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming. And then we'll also deploy on every chain as well. So you'll be able to take vBELLS pretty much to any chain. And the process will be drastically simplified over time. And so excitingly bullish. It's there's going to be a lot of improvements that come from the Emblem Vault side, which is the vault provider. And then from Graham, who's the Televault provider as well. And from that, we can take, what is it, like $50 billion in proof of work assets just sitting around over to, Solana and Ethereum for people to do kind of whatever they want.
Wow, sounds awesome.
More bullet, bro.
Lots of alpha there, and yeah, I'm blown away. Even though I know a little bit of that, I'm looking forward to it. Really, yeah, exciting.
Dude, I mean, it's literally like this is. I mean, obviously, it's very difficult to have the winner in any kind of space, but the bridging space and making an impact and actually trying to win in that space. It's a lofty goal, but there's no good reason other than there's not a technical reason why this can't be the winner. And as Jake said, pointed out, there's good reasons that it could be the winner. So it's really exciting. I think, Graham, maybe you're not sufficiently bullish on what you have. But what you have here is the potential to disrupt, a multi-deca-billion-dollar a year industry.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not bullish enough. I am talking to a few people though that could help with accelerating what I'm doing. So yeah, that's something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, one thing I've realized, and going into product launches now, the Emblem Vault team over the last 2 years since we joined, we've gone through now, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 different product launches. You always got to like expect the unexpected, and you always have to know that there's things in the background that need to be done that you don't even realize. And for a bridge, what I realized is there's actually a ton of admin work that goes into it for things like, right, every token that goes through the bridge, you have to get listed on CoinGecko, right? Then it's like, there's the contracts that have to be posted. Then it's like, oh, well, we got to sign up the bridge for the DeFi protocol so that it gets looked into the DeFi analytics, right? Because then XYZ protocol, you have to be signed up for these things to prove that the contract's real, right? So there's like all this kind of stuff that you don't even realize has to be set up that takes literally months to do. That oftentimes when you launch it, you're just like, why is this not $1 billion already? Right. But it's like, there's a lot that has to go into it in just the UX. And so I'm kind of learning a lot of that. Also setting up like the LP pool and stuff takes coordination as well. But I'm really excited for it. And just kind of like a last kind of note here, when you look at the bridging space, like the fungible token bridging space, they're all built off of the same infrastructure. Like every single bridge uses either Wormhole or Layer 0 for bridging between chains. What we're building here, right, it's built off Emblem Vault, and this is the first one. So this is like literally a brand new way to go about it that's never been done before. So it's literally just us here doing this. And so vBELLS is the first one, through the door. And as we know in crypto, network effects are always very, very strong. And so with the growth of Televault and going about it in this different way, vBELLS will, find a lot of success as well as being kind of the first one there. And then obviously as the vBELLS TVL grows, then people are going to want to play around with it. And then it'll all come back to the main chain. So they're going to figure out what the hell it is. I mean, to be honest, we launched vBELLS, and then what was it yesterday? There was like a Bellscoin meme coin or something on ETH. People caught attention already.
Well, I mean, there was speculation of a marketplace listing yesterday, and that got people going crazy. And when that happened, I mean, I don't know what it was that triggered it, but all of these very well organized pump and dump organizations, got it listed on, I even know, CoinMarketCap, because there are these ones like CoinMarketCap. If you pay $5,000, they'll list your stuff in 5 minutes, right? And so they got the BELLS token, on CoinMarketCap, and all this stuff. And it's like, so the BELLS community was playing whack-a-mole yesterday because there were like 3 different, tokens that spun up. So yeah, it happens. And actually, that's why I was kind of surprised vBELLS kind of happened organically, without much like reaching out. I think Graham reached out at all, and it got listed. That was kind of nice.
Yeah. I have to say, I had a friend DM me yesterday who I hadn't talked with in like a year. It was like, hey, is this the right BELLS coin? It was the BELLS coin on ETH. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, where did you come from? I haven't talked to you dude forever.
It's crazy.
But people just been saying, and for those that aren't aware, Emblem did post, or we did try a new discount system where if you own 1,000 vBELLS or more, then you get 25% off of vaulting fees across all of our collections. So if you're vaulting BELLS, or if you're vaulting a Rare Pepe, or vaulting, Bitcoin Ordinal or whatever, you get 25% off the $20 vaulting fee if you have 1,000 vBELL in your wallet. And so we'll keep that for quite a while, if not in perpetuity, but don't hold me to that. We're still kind of experimenting with it. So exciting times, man.
I tell you, I did get a peek behind the pump and dump organization yesterday, which was not
how
so great to look at. Well, because you see these guys, like we talked about that guy Whale, who I don't know, we've bumped into before, but then you start going down the list of like all the people that are retweeting it and all the people that are commenting underneath, and it's just this big glob of, you know, I'm air quoting KOLs or influencers, but they're not really. They just literally they've bought themselves 200,000 or 300,000 followers or 500,000 followers, you know, and they're just putting this stuff out like it's legitimate, and they're all retweeting their own stuff. So there's just kind of this cabal of, you know, people, or it might just be a couple of people who are managing a bunch of accounts of these kind of fake accounts. And, you know, I was having to educate people even in the Discord and private chats, like, there's like, how could this guy do this? And I'm like, bro, look at his like comparable, like who's following him that you know. And there's like nobody. It's like one person you know follows him or something. And you realize these are just bought accounts. They're not even real, you know, but they look real. And so it's easy for people to get kind of swindled into buying the ETH version of Bells.
Yeah, the first thing to look at always is see what mutual friends you have or mutual followers, right? So if you find a new account that's 500,000 followers, if there's only like one person you know or two people you know following it, it's probably a fake account. And a lot of times there's nobody following it. You're like, oh, this is definitely a botted account.
Yep.
So stay wary. You know, that's really all I have for today. You know, I'm excited for vBELLS. I think the TVL is going to continue to grow. Right. We mentioned there's, you know, improvements that Emblem's going to do over the next 6 months to really fortify the protocol. There's, you know, improvements that Graham's going to make for 1 click. And then for I guess that's the UX improvement. And then he also has the V2 in mind, which is cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then there's a handful of tokens that are requesting to come. A lot of UTXO chains. You know, Pepe Cash is also one that is a big request, which, you know, I think we should probably do as well. There's a lot of Pepe whales out there. They want Pepe Cash to compete with Pepe because Pepe Cash was the original Pepe meme coin. Actually, the actual original one.
Yeah, actual original.
The actual. It's funny.
Real.
All right. I guess you could say it was kind of the first, you know, one of the earliest meme coins on Bitcoin, like the first meme coin that was built on top of meme coin. Pepe Cash is a rare Pepe token that has like 100 billion supply or something like that.
Yep.
But Graham, do you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to, you know, note before we do wrap it up here?
Yeah, I just want to say that again, thanks for you guys for all the support and for helping me, you know, build this. Couldn't have done it without you. I'm hoping that the road to V2 is much faster than V1 now that I know I have a little bit of idea of what I'm doing. And also really excited with what's coming with Emblem 2.0. It just fires up my imagination. I've already told you guys I have a design in my head for a Bitcoin layer 2 that basically doesn't use federation way of holding Bitcoin. So, and I think, you know, you guys will make it possible. So
Let's go.
Yeah, a lot of exciting things to go. Yeah.
Dang, I'm pumped.
Yeah, Bitcoin L2 on top of Emblem. Let's fucking go. That's I'm set. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. Our whole team's excited. We have our founder Shannon's been, you know, cooking. We have a lot of exciting things that are going to come too. We'll announce some next week during our town hall next Thursday, and then the Thursday, I guess every town hall here from here on out, we host a town hall every last Thursday of the month. Pay attention to those. We'll have a lot of information coming, and we're just going to continue to grow this thing out. If you've enjoyed this conversation, please make sure that you're following the Emblem Vault account. If you love Televault, make sure that you follow Graham and then go into his bio and make sure you're following the TV account. We're going to grow this thing and continue to get the TVL. I guess the goal could be over $1 billion. Would be cool, right? If we could corner. Well, I guess Bitcoin's $1 trillion, right? So if you move out, we'll get to Bitcoin eventually. That's like the final boss is the Bitcoin. But right, I think like Bells and Dogecoin are kind of like the two kind of main bosses with some side ones here and there.
For sure.
So you get $1 billion between those two. That's like, you're in like the top 5 kind of bridges in the industry. And a lot of these bridges are like $100 million funded companies. And we're just, a grassroots movement who's trying to change the space with some cool, awesome technology, with a meme community that Adam revived, even though he hated meme coins before Bells, and now he's the meme coin overlord. What a plot twist in this space. But yeah, please, everyone, make sure that you're following both Graham and the Emblem account. We'll be back here next Tuesday to have some fun conversations with some different communities across the inscription ecosystems. Until then, stay safe, have a good weekend, and vault some bells into vBELLS. See you guys later.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya.